I had the chance to sit on stages and to speak many times, but maybe this time is very special to me because today I'm going to be sharing the story of my life right here. So I've always had the dream of being a physician, and I've always shared that dream with my best friend, my grandmother. I was 15 when I heard that she had cancer. And right before my first final exam, finally in my high school, she passed. I couldn't score as high as expected. I got 92.2 total, which did not allow me to get a spot in any medical school in Jordan. I had to look for other alternatives, and a friend of mine was studying medicine in Yemen, who could convince me to leave with him to Yemen. I had no idea what was Yemen back then. And I went there and I studied for a semester. Unfortunately, I couldn't pursue my studies over there because the Arab Spring hit Yemen, and I couldn't go back because of the civil war. I had to stay in Jordan for 7 months, and after that, I had to leave to Egypt to study medicine. A month later, because of the instability in Egypt, because it was also hit by the Arab Spring, the Jordanian government decided to take all Jordanian students who fled the civil war or who fled the countries who were affected the most in the Arab Spring in here in Jordan. And this is how I got my seat in Jordan University of Science and Technology. So a year later, along with all what happened with me, I started to overcome the loss of my grandmother. And I was satisfied. I was on the right path to achieve one of my main goals, to be a doctor. But also I had passion for other dreams. So I started to engage myself and get involved in extracurricular activities, and I started to travel. And here I'm making the first recommendation to you all. Traveling. Travel as much as you can, as much as possible, because nothing in life can teach you as much as traveling to another countries and meeting with people from different backgrounds who practice life differently. I had the chance to represent Jordan in many countries, conferences, and most importantly, I had the chance to travel for fun. Now, my last trip during my med school was to the US last year, in my senior year. Now, a short brief, if you want to match in a medical residency program in the US, you have to redo again the whole material that you took in your med school and even more. So I went there. So you can do the theory here in your country, but the clinical part, you have to do it in the US. So I went to Houston and I did the clinical skills exam and I passed it. I also had to do electives to get a US experience, because without a US experience, it's really, let's say, more difficult for you to match in the US. You need a US experience in your CV. But I was just 2 months away from my graduation. And I took the opportunity in the US to do all the stuff that I've mentioned, but also there was an opportunity of something that I do really regularly. And here's my second recommendation to you all. You need to learn to get distant, to sit with yourself, and to get to know yourself better. So in my last trip, it was my last resort to make up my mind what I want to do. Back then, the atmosphere, the dogma that was created and the perfect path that was designed by others was about, if you pursue your medical career in the US, that's the best thing that can ever happen to you. But I asked myself, what if that perfect path that suits the majority of people does not suit me? What if I'm different? 2 weeks before I came back I was in Los Angeles 2 weeks before I came back from California to Amman, I called my parents and I told them that I'm gonna start my entrepreneurship journey. I've always had that idea about a shared co-working space that tackles all the issues that I personally face when I want to study. Now, as a medical student and as a reader, we study a lot. And most of the time we look for spaces to study and we look for people to study with. So we used to go to cafes, we used to go to lounges, to public libraries, sometimes to some of our friends' houses. But there was also, in each category that I mentioned, there were also a lot of problems. If you go to your friend's house, you go the first day, the second day, and then you're embarrassed. If you go to a cafe, it's full of smoke and it's loud, especially when it's fully occupied. If you go to a public library, you are limited by certain hours. And if you go to any of those, you will not find a good internet service. Another point that is really important, most of the time it's not affordable to go every day. So I had that idea in my mind since I was in my second year middle school, that what if somebody just create that perfect place that brings all the styles together in one place and give us a good solution, make us comfortable to study. And when I called my parents and I came here, honestly, I had many obstacles. They thought I'm crazy, that I'm gonna waste my degree. They wanted me just to focus in medicine and do the traditional steps on the way. And I had a major problem, which was funding. Now, the business model was really clear in my mind after I realized that drinks are cheap. And you just can charge any student the same amount of money for unlimited drinks. So I started to look for a funding source, and I decided to take a loan. Now, after the loan, we started started working on the first branch at Mecca Street in Amman. But that specific period in my life was really tough because I had to attend in the hospital, go to the site every day. Still, I used to stay with the workers until late, and I have to study for my finals in my senior year, which are the most difficult exams maybe in your medical journey. Those 2 months were really so depressive, but I believed in my idea and I took the first step. I'm not going back. Now, after I graduated, 4 months later, we could launch the first study house. And you know what? You guys loved it. We succeeded massively. I remember the third day of my opening, the study house was full, and we had a waiting list. So most of the people around me came again to try to convince me that I should settle down my business and I should go back to medicine to catch up with my colleagues, and nothing happened. Okay, you succeeded here, you have your business now, go back to your medicine to be able to pursue a medical residency program. Whether here or out, that was like my parents' point of view. It's just do it here or out. It doesn't matter, you're okay, but we need you to be a specialist. And I didn't want to do it immediately. They couldn't understand that I was just at the beginning. I was just getting started. Now, the story of the second branch was by some people who are really my friends, I consider my brothers, who believed in my idea and who decided to invest in it. So that man, who I consider my brother, came to me and he said, okay, you want to do a second branch? I said, yes. I don't know when, I don't know how, but yes, my vision is not complete. And he said, okay, I will take half share. So we came here to Irbid and we signed for the location. Now, I didn't know how to fund it because my income was barely enough for my bills. So I decided to take a second loan, and it took me a lot of courage to do it. I took the second loan, and now after the experience, it didn't take us 6 months to build the branch. It took us just like 10 weeks. Before I ended the construction phase of the second study house, I had a pure trade opportunity that allowed me to make some extra cash. I took that cash, I went for the third location at the Jordan University Street before we launched the second branch, and I did the down payment. Another two brothers of mine decided to invest. They believed in me, they believed in my idea, and they decided to invest. So in 2 months, we launched the third branch. Before we launched the third branch, the same thing happened, and another two brothers of mine did the down payment for the rental of the fourth branch. Now, we're building the headquarters, taking the company to the next level, supported by all different departments. So achievements. In less than a year, we could provide 32 direct jobs and more than 100 indirect jobs. We could support 7 different student events and campaigns, and we are really proud that the chain, all in all, costed nearly $250,000 JDs, but it's humbly now worth $1 million. I know I'm drawn in loans, but I'm paying my bills. I'm not going to jail, thank God. So I came here to you today to deliver a message, because I know that many of you have that idea, carrying with him but without any practical moves. Any of your ideas can be brought to reality. You just need to break your chains. If you're doing a degree, don't let that degree to put chains on your hands. If you have a family that does not understand, if you believe in your idea, just do it. Don't stick at your place wasting your lifetime doing what others like. Just follow your own vision and create your own path. I'm Jordanian, just like most of you are. I live in Jordan, in the Middle East, in a very turbulent region, in a country whose economy that is not doing very well. And I could make it. I'm in front of you. I could make it in less than a year. Now, here's the recipe. You need to be able to imagine it. You need to be able to believe in it. And you need to be brave enough to move for it. It's not a must to succeed if you want to succeed, to go outside Jordan. I travel, I love traveling. I still travel until now. But wherever I go, I've never forgotten my grandmother. And I've never forgotten that this is home. We can make it here. Thank you.